Wake up, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's live stream. Nice to see you people here. If you can see me, if you can hear me, please drop a quick like or a quick comment here in the chat. As you know, this is an interactive kind of deal that we're doing here. And if you want to participate, you need to participate. You need to actually let me know if the sound is all right, if the stream is all right. I'll also quickly tag everyone here in our Facebook group. And yeah, let's see who's ready to go, who's ready to get some knowledge. Also, it's not reloading here, so yeah, give me a second here. Today, right, while I figure out the technicalities of things here, right, it's about how to structure your time, how to make it most efficient, because we all, yeah, you can't borrow time, right? We all have a limited amount of time, and if you want to learn programming and you're spending a certain amount of time, you don't want to waste it with silly things. And that's especially important if you have a full-time job, if you have kids, right? If you have things going on. If you're 14 years old and you have no kind of responsibility, that's nice. You can just waste your time. But all of our clients, yeah, they have jobs, they have kids, and then it's most important. But also, again, it's an interactive kind of thing here. I want to know from your end where you are currently at. How many times a day do you learn? How many times a week? How long are your sessions, right? How is all of this going for you? So let me know that in the chat so we can adapt a little bit what we have prepared here for you today. Right? I already see a few people coming in here, even though this one stream here doesn't seem to work, but the other ones are here. And LinkedIn we are live, on YouTube we are live. That's good. So, ladies and gentlemen, today I'll show you how you can easily find a working strategy for that really makes sense for you specifically. Yeah, if you don't have an infinite amount of time. So the idea is that after this class, you know exactly what kind of things you should put your focus on, what you need to absolutely avoid, and what things are like the deadliest time wasters, right? The goal is that you have an idea what to do is you can basically implement it right away after this live class. So if you're listening now and say, oh, should I listen to this man? Yeah, this is for you if you are an absolute beginner and you want to do it properly from the beginning, which I highly recommend. But this is also for you if you have been learning by yourself for some time and you kind of feel like, I'm not making the progress that I envisioned in the beginning, right? I'm not moving as quickly as I want to. So maybe it's time to actually make this a reality here and do it properly. One important thing here for all of those live classes every time, right? And everywhere, you need to be somebody that takes action. You need to be somebody that starts doing, right? Somebody that actually does something. Because if you just watch me here, which is nice, okay, watch me, that's fine. But if you then just say, oh, that's neat, but I'm not going to implement anything, well, you'll not get results, right? And you're here for results, as far as I know. So pretty please, you need to be somebody that takes action. You need to be somebody that takes down, because I'm going to give you the exact plan here, right? In the end, if you make a well-educated decision that you want to work with me personally, that's a good idea. But even if you don't, I don't really care, right? It is the worst thing you can do if you just waste your time on the wrong kind of implementation, on the wrong kind of things. And you've heard this a million times already, right? Oh, all right. You just need to put in the hours. Like I'm trying to put in the hours here for my live stream, but it doesn't work. Who knows? What does this mean? What does it mean? Put in the hours. Nobody tells you where to put the hours, where to actually put that time, right? So that's just unsatisfying. If your only thing that keeps you going is, oh, I'm gonna put in more hours, where does this lead us? You just if you do that, you just go on and you just go on and just go on. You just keep going. It's gonna get better soon. that's not gonna bring you anywhere. And this is really the wrong mindset. More hours don't mean more efficiency, don't mean you progress faster. And I'm gonna give you the quick tour here of what we do with our clients to get them actually to get to the first software engineering role on a tight time budget. Yeah, we have clients that have 4 or 5 kids. Yeah, I have one client that has 2 jobs. Yeah, he works at a restaurant and he drives a bus. He's very busy. He also has kids. And he still got an engineering job in the end. So if you want to be ahead of the curve, then get pen and paper ready. Because I'm gonna tell you like specific areas you should be focusing on. If that sounds good to you, hype the algorithm a little up, put down the let's go, let's show that you're ready to optimize your time budget. Little word about me. If it's the first time joining here, I'm a not like by nature, I'm not very well organized. I'm very chaotic. Um, you could say lazy, right? Um, I just don't want to waste my time on useless things, right? I hate busy work. If you don't know what busy work is, those are just tasks that are meant to keep you busy, non-productive tasks. And you probably know that back in school, when the teacher just gave the class some stupid menial task to do, right? Just to keep the class quiet. Just let's make sure that I have something to do. It doesn't benefit anyone. Um, and yeah, I hate that. Because that time could have spent with more productive things, and not even more productive things, but it might just be more enjoyable things. Instead of doing some stupid busy work, I'd rather watch Netflix. So if you're a lazy person like me, or I'm a lazy person, I of course want to do as little work as possible for the maximum result. And the fun thing here is that actually many great programmers are pretty lazy because they will find the motivation, they will find a way to automate some kind of boring work. So they have to do as little as possible themselves. Um, what you want to be in the end is effective. You want to be efficient. And a big part of being efficient is exactly pinpointing the things that are not useful to you. You need to trim the fat, you need to streamline your stuff. So in general, it is much less about having a very fixed schedule, a fixed lesson plan. Even, I mean, it helps to some degree, but it really is about reflecting and adapting what actually works specifically for you and what doesn't work for you. And that's really another thing many people don't think about. They go into programming, go into software engineering, and they focus 100% on the technical parts without even thinking about the bigger picture. And like being a programmer is so much more than just knowing the syntax and the technicalities of implementation. People don't think about that. And this is something I didn't think about, right? This is something I had to painfully learn myself over those 20 years that I've been programming. So let's talk about you. Maybe you have already started. You're putting an X amount of hours in and you're not very satisfied with your progress. And you think, Jesus Christ, if I want to move double the speed, like if I want to go there faster, I need double the hours. And you look at your schedule and you don't have double the hours, right? So where do you go from there? Um, and that's really the wrong thing, like the wrong way to go about it. Because you can double your efficiency and reduce hours at the same time if you do it properly. So pretty please listen to me. I'm gonna tell you all the steps, listen to all of them because it really works if you um, implement all of them, which again brings me to you. You're not here to just hear me ramble about efficiency, but pretty please now in the chat, I see the chat here, tell me what you think is your biggest time investment. Where do you spend most of your time when it comes to getting better at programming? Write it down in the chat and then we can have a conversation here. Because maybe it's very obvious that what you spend your time on could be a problem. I have many problems of my own that I have to figure out. But again, this is about you specifically. This is about you, you beautiful people. So I see Eleanor here joined and Nicholas here joined. Let me know. Where do you spend your time? While the chats are coming in, I'll just start with the most important thing here. And if you take this seriously, right, it will make a tremendous difference. and that is tracking, right? This sounds very boring. It is very boring, but it's very simple. And the important thing is that you keep an accurate diary, really, write that down wherever you want, of how much time you spend and on what you spend it. Because really there's no benefit if you vaguely, wishy-washy kind of remember, oh, last month I spent a lot of time, whatever that means, on this. Doesn't, like, you need hard facts. So for you to analyze your time, you need to actually have it written down. And it's not hard. It's very easy. You can just do this by putting your hours in an Excel sheet. Put it on a piece of paper. You don't need some time tracking software. Right? Like, you don't. Just, hey, today I spent 1 hour being confused about API keys, whatever. Right? Just write that down. And it doesn't need to be down to the minute. If you have roughly hourly increments or 30-minute increments, that's totally fine. So you start writing that down for some time. Pretty please, do yourself a favor. And then you categorize your tasks, right? After you've written that down, you say, okay, reading documentation, being stuck, actually implementing, category debugging, so on and so on, right? For you, there are no categories for you in the beginning. You need to understand, you'll build your own categories. You have to look at what you have been doing and then find your own categories. And this will enable you to, probably for the first time in your life, take an educated look at the time you spend on things. And from that point, you can actually optimize and see where your bottleneck is. Where do you spend most of your time? You need to find that out. And I know that's not exciting. Right? The logging itself takes some time, but it actually allows you to see what's going on. And you don't rely on some weird feeling that's super imprecise, right? Humans with squishy brains are very, 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 very bad at judging the passing of time. You know that, right? It's very hard. And let me just hammer that in. I know it's boring, it's not exciting, but it is effective and it is simple. And if you don't do that, you just have no idea what you're actually spending your time on. Think about it. How much time, like if I ask you a question, how much time do you spend showering each week? You have no idea, right? Same thing with learning anything, you need to actually track that down. Then if you have that, right? If you've done that for some time, we move on to the next step, which is analyzing the data, right? Because what good is if you have collected all the data if nobody looks at it? So how do you analyze that data? It's pretty simple. You just look at what categories you gathered over that time span. And then you sum up all the hours for each category. And then you just take the top 3, top 4, you carefully look at what those things are. And then you can figure out, okay, what is my number one time investment or what is my number one time waster? Important note here, you need to be honest with yourself, okay? Right? Don't try to fool yourself into making the numbers look good. Maybe your number one time waster is procrastination. It's okay. It's okay. It happens. If that is the case, for many people it is, right? That doesn't mean that you have ADHD or whatever. That usually just means that the thing you're working on is not really interesting to you. And you need to kind of dig a little deeper. If you spend your time just scrolling on social media platforms instead of working on your project is not as interesting as TikTok. So you need to kind of work on a different project. You need to find a new one because you need to kind of intrinsically motivate yourself. Maybe your number one thing is watching tutorials. I have an easy fix for you. Stop it immediately. It doesn't help you in a way that you think it does. Because, and like, understand this, watching somebody else do something does not transfer knowledge. Okay, we've talked about this in another live stream. It doesn't. It's very simple. Oh, but I need to look. Yeah, you don't. Okay, you don't need to look at tutorials. You don't. Okay, don't do it. Maybe you find out that you spend a lot of time watching tutorials, you need to make a conscious decision to end that. Yeah, get yourself a stopwatch, place it next to your monitor, say, okay, now it's tutorial time. And as soon as you hit 15 minutes, whatever you're doing, yeah, close all the tabs, close them, and go back to try and implement. It's always about implementing, not about watching other people do shit. Because maybe you've watched a lot of Formula One, maybe you watched a lot of football. None of those things have made you a Formula One driver or a good football player. Right? You know the mechanism doesn't work. Maybe most of your time is just spent ripping your hair out. It's like, shit, I'm confused. How do I make the thing do the thing? If that's your problem, then don't spend more time like aimlessly moving code around in the hopes that it works miraculously. Or just copying one version from Stack Overflow and it doesn't work, and you copy the other version from Stack Overflow just with thoughts and prayers that it at some point will actually work. Because you need to step back a little bit and dig in deep. So usually you just have a few lines of code that give you trouble. You should spend some time trying to find out what those lines is, try to understand every line that you have, and there will be some that you don't understand, right? And now your only task is to try and find out what it's supposed to do, right? So hey, I want to sort an array, I want to access la di da, whatever it is, and you have a line of code that you probably copy pasted from Stack Overflow, but you don't understand it. So now if you know what it's supposed to do, you need to try and come up with a simpler solution, right? Might not be as elegant, that's okay, but you need to come up with a simpler solution. And if you do that, you'll move much faster, right? That in itself, well, I have a thing I don't understand, but I know what I wanted to do. Maybe can come up with a simpler implementation. You'll move much quicker, right? Of course, if you can, you ask somebody knowledgeable about just this one line of code, just this one thing that you don't understand. Because when you're actually looking to understand one tiny thing, you just instantly have a much more focused task at hand, right? So, excuse me. Okay. We also winter's coming. Jeez. So really, if you just have that one simple task at hand, then you have a focused task at hand. So really, the dev sentence is the shotgun approach, where just I'll try this, I'll throw it away, I'll try this, I'll throw it away. It's very inefficient. You need to take a step back and try to solve the problems with the tools and knowledge that you already have. And again, the result might not look very spectacular, but thanks, Jacqueline. But it will work, right? And you can go on to the next challenge. On the other hand, right? If you don't do that, you will spend enormous amounts of time searching and trying all over the place. And that's not costing you time. That's costing you mental health as well. You're gonna go insane if you do this for too long. So don't do it. So to summarize here, step back in complexity and solve problems with with the ways you already know. Nothing wrong with a good old for loop, right? All the things can be solved with for loops, most of the things, right? So nothing wrong about that. You are here to learn how to build software and to make it work, not to kind of just shotgun it. Okay. If you got those things in your brain, last important thing here, and really the key to stop spending time on useless busy work, is the 80-20 rule, right? This is the most important guideline that you'll ever know when it comes to learning any skill. I'm talking about your invested energy and time. And this is really important. And you can only check that if you have the log, right? If you have written it down. But only 20% should be used to learn, right? Only 20% of your time and energy should be occupied with research, with consuming information, right? Like just a tiny bit. The less, the better. You don't need to know all the things. You'll never know all the things. It's impossible, right? I've been programming for 20 years. I don't know all the things. And 80% should be just you solving problems with the coding knowledge that you already have. Not learning new stuff, but just applying the things you already know. Because let's be realistic here for a second. There's a high likelihood that you still have things to learn with the simple things, right? And if you think about it, yeah, a processor in a computer in your smartphone can only do 5 things, more or less, right? It can read data, it can store data, it can do mathematical operations, and it can do if-else decisions. Huh? And that's all it does. That's all it does all day. That's all it does for computers to do everything, to make this live stream possible. And if you have the mindset of, hey, if I understand a very basic set of instructions and you really understand them and you know what they do and you know how to order them in the right way, you can already program everything. Right? You need to get this into your head. Only a few sets of instructions make up every program. Every program. That in turn means you don't need to learn 5 million instructions. You don't need to learn 5 million frameworks and do that. You really just need the basics and you need to learn them well. And with that knowledge, you can already solve every problem. So if you spend your time on complex code that you don't understand, take a step back. Just leave it and try to come up with a simpler solution. Find a solution with the things you already know. It's a different task, but that's a good task. And if you do that, that will reduce your research and learning hours to a minimum, right? And it will allow you to focus on the really important skill, which is problem solving. If you don't take this seriously, like if you don't take this properly seriously, you will always have trouble remembering things, right? So, you probably know that. You have the thing in your brain. So, hey, I remember understanding that. I remember knowing about it, but now I can't do it. If that's your problem, this is why, because you spend too much time ingesting information and not applying. If you have that problem, you'll always be busy. You will always be busy being frustrated and looking for answers. Right? You need to learn the simple things. Simple things are simple, cool, but you need to learn them really, really well and fundamentally understand them. With that, you have a good setup, right? Really good setup, and many people get it so terribly wrong. This is why I'm yelling at you, dear people here. Let's quickly summarize those things, because maybe you already forgot. You need to track your time. You cannot, it is impossible to make educated decisions without having actual hard data. Right? Number 2, you need to actually analyze that data and you need to be honest with yourself. You can only improve if you take yourself seriously. And number 3, you need to spend way, way, way more time solving problems than trying to learn new stuff. You need to spend way more time doing that with the things that you already know. Right? That's it. That's the magic trick. And this is also what I told you in the beginning. You need to be somebody that actually implements. Even if you agree with me now, so, hey, dude, that Austrian man had a few good points. I'm not going to do them. Where does this leave us? Right? You're here, you're doing all of this because you want to become good at programming. That might be for your next career move, or that might be to progress in your current job. That might be just for personal growth. Maybe you have some kind of application idea that you want to bring into reality. It doesn't matter why you're learning programming. In any case, if you do those 3 things, those 3 simple things that I just told you, they will set you up to actually learn things without being all over the place and frustrated all the time, without feeling like shit. I'm spending so many hours and I'm not moving forward. If you really do this, this will literally turbocharge your speed in increasing your skills. And if somebody says, "Oh yeah, less is more," it sounds lame, but it's true. It is really true. And if what I'm just telling you, if that makes sense to you, and you feel like that approach can work for you, but you want to have a little deeper dive on that, so you really 100% know that you're on the right track. You want a professional software engineer to talk with you about that. What you can do is get started in the chat. You'll get to talk to me personally. We'll have a conversation. We'll look at your current situation and see what you specifically need to be focusing on, so you optimize your time. You stop wasting any more time. All you need to do here is get started in the comments. I'll check my comments right after this class. We'll have a little conversation, maybe on the phone, whatever. I'll ask you a few questions, and we can figure out what you're doing wrong. But just changing your approach, all of a sudden, you're 10 times faster. And I've seen so many people, they want to learn to program. And I'll get to Eleanor here because she said she spent some time with a boot camp and learning, right? We'll get into that. But I've seen so many people, they want to learn programming and they're being discouraged. They give up. They fizzle out after some years. And always, I've been doing my mentoring thing for 5 years, right? It's never because programming is hard, but it is really because there's no clear guidance on what to do and when to do it. And very often it's kind of counterintuitive what you need to do to get results. And so many people have quit for just the wrong reasons. So please, if you want some help, reach out to me. I'm here to help you people do this properly. You don't need a super brain. You don't just need to do the things in the right order. You need to do the right things. I always say, hey, if your goal is to go to the gym to get big arm muscles, to lift heavy shit, that's your goal. Yeah, you want to lift things, but then you go to the gym and you spend 5 hours on the treadmill every day. That is very exhausting. That takes a lot of effort. Right? You do this for 2 years, and then you come out of the gym. Oh, I've been going to the gym for 2 years now, but I still can't lift heavy things. Yeah, well, that's bad, right? You just didn't know. You did the wrong thing. You spend a lot of effort on the wrong thing, and this is why you're not progressing. And in the same way, with a more complex topic, then it's more harder. This is not a grammatically correct sentence, but hey, we'll go with it. We have Eleanor here that says, I spent some time with Microsoft and Google events learning. I finished the bootcamp, right? So that's why you're here. Now I'm alone without a schedule. I need to be effective, right? You haven't really found your path in full stack yet. That is, I mean, I don't know you, I don't know a specific situation, but if I read something like this, very often, if you go through those guided courses, I don't know what kind of bootcamp you did, right? But there's always this amount of kind of spoon feeding you the thing. You do this, and then you do this, and here is the instructions on how to do X, Y, Z, and you basically follow the instructions. You finish an exercise. In the end, you get your bootcamp certificate. But really, if you're on your own, it's kind of super hard, because I would assume, I'm like, put it in the chat, but I would assume at this point you haven't built a really complex project by yourself. Maybe you're scared of doing that, which is totally fine, but that is a problem, right? So you probably feel like, shit, I'm not at the point yet where I'm good enough to get a job or to build something, and your brain goes, oh, I'm not good enough, so I need to learn more, which is wrong. Probably learned most of the things already. What you need to be focusing on is now taking that knowledge, taking those tools that you have acquired through your courses, through your bootcamp, and sitting down and applying them, right? Like hands-on, you need to build something big and complex because it's the only way to learn how to build something big and complex. So if you want to have a more in detail conversation, feel free to send me a message here on LinkedIn. We'll have that conversation. But this is what I see a lot with bootcamp graduates, even university graduates. We just have a client that started yesterday, fresh out of university, right? Computer science, happy days, but basically incapable of programming something themselves, right? Because that's not what you do in those kind of courses. You get tools. You go to a hardware store and you've spent some amount of time reading instruction manuals for tools. So now you know about tools, but you really haven't built anything. And I mean, realistically, the industry doesn't pay you to know about things because Google exists, right? You can just look stuff up. They pay you to solve problems for them with code. And this is the This is the skill that you need to hone. This is the skill that you need to actually make a proper skill, right? So for you, spend your time on building things. If you want to talk about it, if you need some help, yeah, send me a message. But that is really the thing. Many people spend too much time on trying to learn stuff instead of actually exercising their brain muscles and applying it. So if you flip that switch and if you go 80-20, all of a sudden you'll move much faster, more efficient, and it is really just a change in mindset, right? A change in what you do. So take this to heart. Again, thank you all of you for being here. We'll end this stream now. If you have any other questions, conversations, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, what have you. You'll find me. Send me a message. I answer all my messages. Right? Sometimes it takes a little time. That's okay. But I'll answer all my messages. If you have any questions, I'm here for you. Thank you, everybody, for being here.